All right. I'm Captain Dustin Wray, and welcome to episode 6 of the Starship Atom Dust Chronicles. And episode 6 kind of gives this away that I got some big news coming up. But episode 6 is Narnia guitarist C.J. Grimmark will appear on my album 77s. So as always, I'll start with music news. That is big news, music news for me. But other music news is my single, I Will Never Be the Same, which is the title track of my other album I'm working on at the same time, which is a modern praise and worship type style album, is doing very well. And the video has over 40,000 views on YouTube in the first 2 weeks of release. So that's going very well. This is the third single off of that album, and I'm still working on it. I've got one more song to start, and we're in various levels of getting all the other songs done. Still working on it. The next thing I want to talk about real quickly is I know I'm kind of a small fish in a large pond in the YouTube market, but I did get this award for passing 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I'm kind of proud of that. I will say that most of my 100,000 subscribers have been in the last year. So there's been some changes in my life where I've had a little bit more time to work on this, and that has resulted in me starting this podcast, which is kind of a big deal for me. Hopefully I can build it into something bigger, but I'm now at closer to 120,000 subscribers, so people generally seem to like what I'm doing. So, but as you look at some of the bigger people you might look at or watch their channel, they have a lot more than 120,000 subscribers. But it was kind of a big deal for me to hit that, and hopefully I can get much more as time goes by. So, and one more thing before I get to the big news: Black Friday month continues. Final markdowns before Christmas. Now, all my downloads, happens one time a year, all downloads on my site, www.dustinray.bandcamp.com. Now, I do have my music in other places on the internet. The streaming sites, no musician is a big fan of the streaming sites. They really don't make much money from them. If you are somebody who wants to support musicians, it's much better to buy than to stream. Downloads, CDs, merch. So if you want to support musicians, if there's musicians that you like what they're doing, if you want to support me, you like this podcast, you like my music, it's always better to buy. You would make just buying one download or one CD helps far more than saying, hey, I like your music, or which is still cool, but or streaming their music. That does not much for musicians and artists. But all my downloads now are 50% off, and all CDs right now for the next couple weeks are 60% off. T-shirts and package deals are also marked down to reflect the prices of the CDs. Rock bottom deals for the next 2 weeks. Get it while they're hot. Every physical merch order, CDs or T-shirts, will get my second album. No matter if it's just one thing, you just order one thing, you're going to get my second album, inside tracks, and stickers for free. I did stickers for my last 2 albums, Freedom, and I'll tell you later. You'll get stickers of these, small stick, cool, about that size. So any order at all, you're going to get this album for free. Any physical order before shipping of only $8. It used to be $10. Now it's only $8. You're going to get that CD and my first album, The Difference, for free. Now, any physical order of only $18. It was $25. Now it's only $18. Actually, I think I marked it down on the site to $16. I think my notes are wrong. So it was double the $8 to get the 2 CDs for free. Any physical order of only $16 will also get a free copy of More Than a Carpenter by Josh and Sean McDowell. This is a very, very cool book. I don't know how long ago I first read it, but it's been redone. It was just by Josh McDowell, and then they redid it with his son Sean. A lot of less than 200 pages, but a lot of great information packed in that 200 pages, and it has a lot about Josh McDowell's his life testimony, but a lot of good apologetics. So whether you're a Christian or you're just looking into the Christian religion, and you want to find out more about the Bible, the background, if the texts are as far as historically accurate, check this out. I think everybody would benefit from reading this book, but there are alternate books that if you make an order and you want an alternate book, you just go to message to Dustin and say, and it's only $16, you get an alternate book. You can get The Oracle, Jonathan Cahn, The Paradigm by Jonathan Cahn, or Standing in the Fire, Tom Doyle. Okay, the 2 older t-shirts, I made a t-shirt for my 3rd album. It doesn't matter what it's called. And It's Time. This one, incidentally, has a song by Michael Rowe of the 77s and the Lost Dogs. He covered my version of, or my song called My Friend, which was also on my first album. And then he covered it. And then he also put it on his, I think it was a 2016 album, his live album, Gothic. So it's on that album, and it's also on my album right here. But I have shirts made for these 2 albums. They're now marked down to only $8, but supplies are very limited. And of course, if you check out the prices for these CDs, some of them are under $3. They range from 3 to like 5 or 6 at the most, being marked down 60%. You really can't beat it. But it's just for the next 2 weeks. So the older shirts are down to $8. So it brings like the It's Time package. You get the CD and the t-shirt that comes with it down to $15.99. You get 4 CDs with that package and the stickers. It doesn't matter what it's called. You get the CD and the t-shirt, and 2 CDs come with that. It's only $10.99. So the Freedom CD and T package has also been marked down in relation to the Black Friday month deals. You get a bunch of stuff with that. I didn't write down how many CDs, but there's a lot of stuff. But these are the newest shirts I've done, and it's the cover of Freedom, and these are really, really nice. I'm probably going to do one for 77s shortly. There's another site. I probably won't put it on this site. There's another site. I forget the name of that site right now, where you can do made by order. Some of you out there might know what that is. I did one shirt on there one time, but it's so much better than printing these up ahead of time. You can they print it up as somebody orders it. That's probably how I'll do t-shirts from now on. But as I edit this, I'll put the cover for 77s. It's a really, really cool cover. of the angel Gabriel appearing to Daniel. So like I said, all the bargain prices are already marked just on this site. This is where you're going to get the best of all my deals. So go to www.dustinray.bandcamp.com. On to the big news. Commercial's over. So, as it's already been revealed by the title of the video, the big news is that I can now confirm that Narnia guitarist CJ Grimmark will appear on my new album, 77s. I hope I'm saying his name correctly, Grimmark. CJ will be appearing on the track Getting Closer. If that title sounds familiar to any fans of classic Christian rock out there, it may be because this track is a cover of the title track of a 1985 Phil Keaggy album. This version is going to, of course, sound very, very, very different. So what we did with this song, it's going to be longer. There are two places, two solos in the song. One place before the second verse, and of course, one place after. And his parts are awesome. And I just want to say the other main difference is if anybody if anybody remembers 1985 out there and has heard this album, there's some really cool songs on there. I think he had some hits back then. I think one was Like an Island. I think that was like a love song or something. And then on Christian radio. And then he had one called I Will Be There, which was a fairly big hit. But on the title track, what he did on verse 2, I'll get around to it. On verse 2, he kind of like hinted at, there's like these different parts of the verse, and it was like kind of 3 parts, and he kind of hinted at going into a round, like he was singing one part, and then gets into the next part, and then the next. It really sounded like it was perfect for a round. Well, you know me with the way my mind works, it's like, well, let's do the round. He kind of hinted at it for one line and then just, nah, we're not going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I did the round. I mean, and like, I forget, it's like 12 or 16 measures, whatever. I mean, they go fast. It's a fast song. But there's like 2 different parts, and then there's a third part that comes in at like different places. It's really cool. At least I think it's really cool. I think you're going to like it when the album comes out. But CJ just, comes in with these face-melting solos, and they're awesome. So a little bit about CJ. Carl Johan Grimmark is a Swedish guitarist. He has appeared with several influential Christian metal bands, including Narnia, his band, Savior Machine, and Rob Rock. He has also played with the band Jerusalem on several occasions, including Sweden Rock in 2015. Okay, Jerusalem. If you don't know a little about Jerusalem, if you don't know anything about Jerusalem, I'm fairly familiar with them. Swedish hard rock band, started about 1975. So they were there for basically the tail end of the Jesus movement. But when I was growing up and getting into this kind of music, their big landmark album was Dancing on the Head of the Serpent. I didn't do any research on this. I assumed that was probably their biggest selling album. I could be wrong, but it was a pretty cool album. And I remember, the title track, but I would think the biggest song I always remember hearing, and probably my favorite, was a song called Plunder Hell, Populate Heaven. So that's my like best recollection or my favorite song of Jerusalem. And it may not be what their most, like their sound is most like. I know they had like a lot of more poppy keyboard type songs based on like the era they came from and how they progressed. But that song was definitely hard rock, bordering on metal, and you know, maybe somebody else would say, hey, you don't know what you're talking about, and that could very well be true. But I just remember I really like that song. So check out, if you want to check out Jerusalem, check out Plunder Hell, Populate Heaven. Great song. Moving on. CJ's been a special guest guitarist on fellow Narnia bandmate Christian Lilligren's side projects Divine Fire and Audio Vision. CJ has recorded his debut solo album titled Grimmark, where he also handles the lead vocals. CJ's style of playing, especially on Narnia's earlier work, is often compared to the neoclassical metal stylings of Yngwie Malmsteen, or under a more broad genre neoclassicism. CJ is the main composer in Narnia, and on their album The Great Fall, he wrote most of the lyrics. On their other albums, the lyrics have mostly been written by their vocalist Christian Lilligren. Grimmark is also given credit as a producer on several of Narnia's albums. Obviously, I think he's very he does a lot of playing, because I know when I contacted him, he was in the middle. I try not to contact anybody to do anything on my albums if they are touring, because there's no way. I mean, it's just not going to work out. But I know Narnia at the time, at this time, they are working on a new album. I guess it'd be their 11th. But I just want to say, CJ was great. Like, just very easy to talk to, very, there's a lot of horror stories about Christian music or music in general, but especially Christian music. When money gets involved, people tend to not act too Christian. I'm not going to go too much into that. I've had some mostly good experiences in working with some of these people, but not all good. So all I can say is he acted, just wonderfully, wonderful Christian man from my experience with him. Could not say more about how awesome he was to work with, and what he sent back was awesome as well. So very good experience. Gives me a little bit of faith in some of these big rock stars. They say never meet your idols. So, but you definitely get some good experiences sometimes. CJ has been a highly acclaimed guitarist in the Christian hard rock music genre, as more people are exposed to his solid technical abilities, which can be exemplified by the fact that he is credited for playing every instrument on Narnia's debut album, Awakening, and his unique approach of incorporating a neoclassical sound into his music. So I know people get on some of these sites. I see them on mostly on Facebook, and they want to look for different. Oh, I'm looking for this style. I'm into this style of music or this type of band. Do we know any Christian bands that do this? Whatever. So if you like an Yngwie Malmsteen type of player, I mean, I do have some Narnia albums. I discovered them a few years back, and I hadn't been really into the Christian metal scene over the past few years, but I had discovered Narnia. They are really good. Technically, the music probably a lot to do with CJ, and I didn't, when I first reached out to him, I really didn't know how much he had done throughout the Christian music genre, playing with Jerusalem, playing with Rob Rock. I mean, Rob Rock's a big name. He's a very, very good singer. And he played on some of the stuff that I listened to. And again, I didn't really discover Rob Rock until just a few years ago. and that's on me, of course. But he has played on all 10 Narnia albums, of course. And Savior Machine, he's played on 4 Savior Machine albums. One of them's a live album. And he's played on 4 Rob Rock albums. One of them is a live album, live in Atlanta. And these are all like Eyes of Eternity, Holy Hell, Garden of Chaos, all great albums. I really like Rob's stuff. And that Holy Hell album that came out in 2005, that might be perhaps my favorite Rob Rock album. That was really cool. And again, I had no idea that CJ played on that. So I already got the tracks from CJ. They are smoking. I will have new performances with this, adding him on the album. So I will have new performances on the 77, my 77s album. That's the title of the album. It's about the 70 weeks of Daniel prophecy. The title track is a 13-minute plus mini rock opera about the 70 weeks of Daniel. So I'll have performances on that album from both CJ Grimmark of Narnia and Rex Carroll of Whitecross on the title track. Other appearances, I'm going to be re-releasing my song, a few songs. There's going to be a few new songs on the album that I think turned out really good. There's going to be the first single will probably be the video we just shot in October for Never Going Back Again, the remix of that. And there's going to be some re-released songs because I got big hopes for this album, and some of my previous albums I didn't get hardly any attention to, so I'm trying to change that. But Dale Thompson sang on this album, on the song "Free," the Striper cover. So I'm going to re-release that on there. And I have, I'm going to re-release So Good Together from this album that Mike Rowe from the band the 77s played on. So there'll be some other guest stars that'll be on. So that's like 4 big stars in Christian rock music. And there's going to be still one more to announce. I don't know. I'm still considering a few different singers for the part of Gabriel on the title track. I'm singing the part of Daniel. I'm still in the negotiations with a few different big name vocalists. If you have any suggestions of who you think would make a great hard rock or metal Gabriel, please comment below. It doesn't have to come from the world of Christian rock, hard rock, Christian metal. I'm considering people from outside of that realm, and we'll see how it goes. So before I finish, I want a couple things. I want to talk about this fundraiser one more time. I want to remind you about the fundraiser I'm doing for the Daydream Orphanage on my Give Send Go. On Give Send Go, there's a link to it pinned on the top of my Facebook page as well. So it's for the orphanage that I've been supporting for several years now. As the economy worsened in the U.S. and around the world over the past few years, the Daydream Orphanage in Uganda has lost donors, could not afford to pay its rent, and was finally evicted in 2024 and was forced to move the children into the local church building where there's no electricity. They are in desperate need of a generator to care for the needs of the children in their care. So I've supported this orphanage and been in touch with Israel Sentamu, who runs it, a young man who runs it. He may be about 30. People don't live very long in Africa. They used to have a great website, but it had to go away as the money got too tight. I can vouch that they care very much for the children and that they are teaching them the truth of the gospel of Jesus Christ as they raise them up in the grace and admonition of the Lord. They also do their best to reach out to the community around them with the gospel. If you want to simply donate to the regular needs of the children and not for the generator, Or if you want to just talk to Israel and ask them about what their needs are, Israel Sentamu is on Facebook. First name spelled like the country Israel. Second, his last name Sentamu is Sentamu. So check him out. And lastly, before I go, I want to give a big shout out to the Black Knights of West Point for an incredible season. 11-1. And they still have to play Navy. So let's hope for the best. Unless you're a Navy person, then you hope for the best for Navy, I'm sure. But they're currently ranked number 22 in the nation. It's hard to believe. A season I thought I would never see again in my lifetime. Of course, the Army, the service academies were really big or really good, we'll say, back in the 40s and 50s. I don't know, maybe the 60s, or even before that, and then they kind of trailed off. So for the for Army to be ranked number 22 at the end of the season, it's pretty amazing. Now, I personally believe that all these service academies are the real America's teams. So not just Army, of course. So having said that, I'll finish with, I got my little hat, my rank. Go Army, beat Navy. Captain Hawkins with signing off.